Hi everyone, welcome to the 6th week of Easter. Our gospel today comes to us from John chapter 14, starting in verse 15. Jesus said to the disciples, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you forever. This is the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. You know him, because he abides with you, and he will be in you. I will not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. In a little while the world will no longer see me, but you will see me. Because I live, you also will live. On that day you will know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. They who have my commandments and keep them are those who love me, and those who love me will be loved by my Father, and I will love them and reveal myself to them." Jesus tells his disciples, "I will not leave you as orphans, but I will come to you." This is his last conversation with them before he is going to the cross to face death, when they will be alone. And yet he tells them, "I will not leave you as orphans." But he says, "I'm sending another, an advocate, the Spirit of truth, and he will be with you and abide in you." That word abide, it comes from the Greek meno, and it's more than just being with you. It's more than just saying, oh, the Holy Spirit's going to be with you. It's something so much deeper. It's this relationship, this presence, this connection. It is the fullness of Christ and the love of Christ dwelling inside you. There's this great idea in the gospel today. Jesus says that the Spirit will abide in you and he will be with you and be in you. He says, if I live, then you also will live. The life of Jesus is living in us. He says, I am in the Father and you in me and I in you. Last week we talked about how if we believe in the Trinity, then we believe that there is this flow, this relationship, this love, this connection between the Father and Son and Spirit, and they invite us into that relationship, into that love, into that connection, that they are always with us, that they are abiding in us. Now, Jesus tells his disciples that he's about to leave them. He's about to go face death, and they are going to feel so alone. Everything that they hoped for and believed in, all their hopes and dreams are going to be destroyed. Their whole lives are about to be turned upside down. They're going to be isolated and fearful and running away, and they're going to feel so very alone. But Jesus says, I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. You are never alone. You never will be alone. I will be with you, and I will be in you, and I will abide in you. Now, during this time of social distancing, so many of us are also feeling isolated, and we are feeling very much alone. In the same way the disciples were full of grief and fear, I think we feel sadness and sometimes depressed, and we miss the people that we love and that we care about, the people that we want to be with. We miss our family and our friends, and we miss our church. Many of us feel a deep loneliness. But Jesus says the same words he tells us the same words he tells the disciples. I will not leave you as orphans. I will be with you. I will abide in you. And if Jesus is with us, then he is always with us, and nothing can separate us from his love. We are never alone. And if Jesus abides with us, then his love was with us in good times on the highest mountain, and he's also with us in the deepest valley, in the valley of the shadow of death. This word, this idea of abide, it reminds me of the hymn that we sing a lot, Abide in Me. This song was written by Henry Light. He was an Anglican minister in Scotland. in the 1800s. And Henry had suffered from disease his whole life. He was often bedridden. He was often isolated. He often missed out on a lot because he was always sick. At the time he wrote the song in 1820, he was quarantined and he was isolated with tuberculosis. And it's a beautiful song. And in the fourth verse, he sings, I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting, where grave thy victory? I triumph still, if thou abide in me. These words still ring so true today. And so even in this time of disease and death and isolation, this time when we're just looking at the calendar and wondering how long is this going to last, we remember that through it all, Jesus is with us, he's in us, and he abides in us. That Jesus will not leave us as orphans, that he will come to us, that we are never, ever alone. And if Jesus abides with us, then we will be filled with his love and his presence and his fullness and his comfort and his peace and even his joy. And nothing can separate us from that love, because he is now and always will be abiding in us. Amen. Well, I feel like we have to close today by singing Abide With Me together. I wish Todd was here to lead it, but I'll do my best. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide, the darkness